Alright, new favorite right here. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It was a super good book, and I didn't intend to go into spoilers, but something happened, and this is one of the books where it's harder to talk about without getting spoiled. So just I'm gonna have a spoiler section and a spoiler-free section. This book has tied Rage of Dragons for my favorite book of 2021 so far, and it is my favorite new release of 2021 so far, and it blew me away. Holy cow, this was really good, and I just love every aspect of it so much, and it really worked in its favor. A lot of the flashbacks, a lot of the first person, and a lot of the flashbacks. That's something I don't like in a book. Yet somehow this book does it, and I like it. There's a lot of flashbacks in this book, and there's also a lot of first person, and there's no second person whatsoever. It's first person, and even The Martian had a little bit of second person. This was just 100% first person, and I really liked it for some reason. Even though I've expressed my complaints with first person in the past, I did really have a good time reading this book. So, Project Hail Mary is the third of Andy Weir's books. I have read The Martian, and I want to get to Artemis very soon, especially with the success that this had with me. Project Hail Mary was really good. The flashback scenes, again, they were almost just as interesting as the real story. And that's what I feel like you need in a flashback. If you're going to want a flashback, and this is like a memory loss story, I don't like memory loss stories either. He has no idea who he is. And if you're going to flashback, make it interesting. And I feel like he's telling another story about how he got to where he got to. So it's basically like he's on a ship, and we're trying to fill in the blanks as he's trying to move along on his ship and trying to realize where he is. And then in sections, he'll just cut away to a flashback. And I previously thought the best way to do flashbacks was how Brandon Sanderson did it. Brandon Sanderson does flashbacks as he literally just makes a chapter that says this many years ago. So it's very good to just kind of establish where this is. But this flashback worked as a separate story, and I really liked that because I've never seen a flashback work as a story in itself. And this does it really well. So if you want to give a Project Hail Mary a shot, I definitely recommend it for almost anyone. You should recommend. This is going to be one of my new constant recs. Like, it's like I'm going to rec you. Like, oh, what should I read? This is going to be one of my new recs because it's for everyone. I'm sure you will love it. And it's different than The Martian. It is more far-fetched than The Martian. I think this is a little more far-fetched than The Martian, even though there's scientific explanation for all of this. This is a very grounded science fiction novel. I love that kind of thing. Like, I just got done reading Dune, which is my favorite book, but it's not grounded whatsoever. This kind of brought it all down to earth, and it had, not down to earth. He's not on Earth, but he's from Earth. This is a really good book. Now, this is one of the harder books to talk about without ruining it. So before I go into my spoiler, I definitely recommend you read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. He's definitely improved as an author from The Martian. I'm so happy I read it, and there's no regrets whatsoever. Only go check that out. 110%. Please read this book. So this is spoilers from now on. Spoilers, so please read the book. Definitely recommend. No spoilers, you want Rocky. You want me to talk about Rocky. Rocky is on point, Rocky. Like, that, I previously thought this was a grounded science fiction book. He woke up in space. And then the astrophage. Astrophage is kind of like a thing growing on the sun, and it's slowly damaging and slowly killing the sun. And you learn about this. And astrophage is, it is helpful for a lot of reasons. It's like save humanity, but also it's kind of ruining the sun. And there's a lot of, so they're supposed to throw this impromptu mission out there, and they had really little science. And I feel like they throw in this unexpert person, Ryland Grace. He's not very expertise at a lot of things. He's not, I mean, he's a junior high teacher. Like, I mean, what else can I say? Like, he's not an expert but he is smart, and he was writing a paper on like how life did not need water, which I thought was very interesting. I was like, oh, like it made me think about the paper was very, very complex and interesting. I was like, but like a lot of people were like bashing him for it because humanity needs water is something that we've been kind of grown upon, but this is not humanity. Everything's a little bit different, and Astrophage does need water, but like so people are kind of bashing him for that. But he's still like a really, really smart scientist. And he was the leading expert on astrophage. All in the flashbacks, we learned this chunk by chunk, okay? Like, let's bring it on. I don't usually like flashbacks, and I was like, oh, you know. But it really, really did impress me, because it was kind of rolling like a story. And I think it works really so well, because it's a memory loss story. I don't like memory loss stories. I did end up enjoying this a lot. And I wanted to follow how he got on the ship. Because he was in the 1 in 7,000 that were coma resistant. And the other set people in comas because they're going to a different galaxy. And I think Tau Ceti is the star. He's basically on the road. He's a scientist. Holy cow, there's a lot of science in this book. And you can see he was a scientist and he loved science. He's a middle school science teacher. That's cool. And it was so fun. It was just like a fun ride. It was super fun, and then I saw the alien spaceship. That spaceship, it blew me away. I was like I was speechless. I'm like, okay, so we're casually bringing extraterrestrial life, like, and not even like astrophage, which is technically extraterrestrial life. You're bringing in a real being that has like can think and like a real life, like I don't know, like animal or like smart or sophisticated. And Rocky, his whole species is so much more advanced than Earth's, but also they haven't figured out the most simple things. At the same time, you can tell like they evolved very differently, even though they are very, very similar. I can like tell the friendship between them, the bond with the freaking alien. That's just insane. Just like Rocky was my favorite character by far in this book, and I feel like he made the book for me, because like in extraterrestrial life, I was keep thinking how cool that is, and also how well he handled it. And I feel like, wow, well, like this came from a grounded story. Like, okay, The Martian, that could plausibly happen 5-10 years from now. This thing kind of started grounded, and then boom, Astrophage shows up, which it still could. There's nothing saying that Astrophage can't show up in this world, and this advanced the technology for everything, because the ship, the Hail Mary, is fueled by astrophage. And like this is a mind-blowing technology. And in the end, how they save the day is they're getting their natural predator of astrophage, which is, I think Tau Amoeba is like the natural predator, but it does not like nitrogen. And that's like what the people need to get to stop the astrophage. So they actually breed a nitrogen resistant Tau Amoeba. And wow, that was cool, like science, like, and then in doing that, they actually breed it to get past the Xenonite, and like, so it can like it can't get out of a Ziploc bag, but it can get out of Xenonite, which is like the strongest thing ever. And I just like love how that happened, and ooh, like that was so perfect. It handled it really, really well. Like science plus really, it was far-fetched with the aliens, and yet it's still a grounded science fiction. And what I love about this is because he thought he was a hero. He thought he was sacrificing his life. But in the end, he was brought against his will on the Hail Mary. Strat literally just dragged him out, kicking and screaming, because the two people who were supposed, like the person and then the backup, were just blew up. And wow, like, so he was just like brought on, and he did not want to go. When he remembers that, he remembers like what a coward he was when he thought he just sacrificed himself, because this was supposed to be one trip. And at the end, he went home. He started to go home. But then, there was no, like, he realized the problem, and he realized Rocky would have more trouble than him. So he actually does the right thing, and I think this was a climax to go and save Rocky instead. And he ends up really happy living on Rocky's planet, and I feel like that's perfect. That's how it should have ended up. I really didn't think it would be perfect for Grace to end up back on Earth. Like, oh, I'm such a hero, because I didn't see the story was going there. But I did see it was really perfect for him to end up with all the friends of Rocky, and wow. This created extra conflict for the ending, because now you want him to go home and tell Strat, okay, like, get him revenge for Strat's literally just kicking him out of, like, just making him go on this trip, but actually never gets to happen, which makes the end so much worse, because I really want Grace to go back to Strat and tell her that, like, no, like, you know, like, this is not, can't really happen, you can't really do that to people, but that never gets to happen, and I feel like that's a good choice, but that's a really cool thing about it. Rocky's homeworld is so cool, because, like, he sees through his ears, or he doesn't need light, basically, and, it's so cool. I love the bond between these two people. And I really just think in alien-human contact, this is the best, like, alien, like, humanity's first contact with aliens. Now, this came out in May of 2020, and I was kind of under my radar. I had read The Martian previously, but I'm like, okay, I feel like this won't, I think, I had in my mind that Martian was probably a one-hit wonder, but wow, Andy Weir just blew it out of the park. It beat The Martian for me. It was better than The Martian. And wow, I had so much fun reading this book. All of my thoughts have been positive. I do really think that it could have been better in third person, but it didn't really affect that much for me. Like, cause like, I think Murderbot, I was like, okay, I was trying to get close to the character, but I feel like it acted in a lazier way. This one was first person to its best, even though I thought the third person could have improved upon it. But still, it did it so well. I love this book so much. A solid 5 out of 5 and a new personal rec for me. And yes, you can expect to see this on my top 10 for 2021. Or even the new releases. This is number 1 for new releases. So, that was my review. And I didn't expect to do spoilers, so I kind of kept it a little shorter. But see you in the next video. Peace.